This video brought to you by War Thunder. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel and our next Escape from Tarkov video, which is going to be an armor tier list. Now this is updating it with the most recent change to armor, where they basically changed how plates function, how big their colliders are, and how they cover a lot more. So what this did is it upended and pretty much flipped on its head my last tier list, so I figured we'd just as well do a new one. So without wasting any time, we'll jump right into the tier list. All right, so unlike last time, there is no F tier. I got rid of the F tier because 3 was enough to kind of describe how everything is going to go together. So we'll blow through D tier and probably C tier pretty quick, and we'll get into the higher ranked ones with a little bit more detail. So starting off on D tier, it's pretty straightforward. You're not going to be surprised by a lot of these. It's going to be your class 2 armors, as well as some of the class 3s, or the rigs that don't have any armor at all. And yes, that is the way it works. Some of these rigs, while they're just pure plate carriers. They have no aramid to them, nothing else. It's just the plates. And because of that, that really makes no reason to wear them over any other armor. And some people are going to say, well, they're light and fast, but there are armors that provide coverage that have the same stats as these, but actually have aramid and coverage and side plates and things like that. So there is no good reason to run these, in my opinion. Now, as far as no armor is concerned, it's going to be your MBSS rig, your HPC, your hex grid, the TTSK, which is the Tasmanian rig, and then the Goons Edition plate frame carrier. Now, yes, these come with plates, but I guess that's going to be something else I should have said beforehand, is that this tier list pretty much ignores whatever level of plate or type of plate that comes with the armor, because things are so interchangeable that sure, you can barter and get the plates out of this, but there's pretty much no reason to just take the plates out and put them in another armor that is better, which is like real common with the HPC, for example. You know, you barter for it, you get your class 5 polys, you put those in a Thor or pretty much anything else, and you're stepping up. So yeah, again, this pretty much ignores the plates that come with it, because like this is class 6, right? So people might think it's S tier, but it's not, because you just take the plates out and put them in something else and you're better off. So what D tier boils down to is basically armors that you wear if you have nothing else or you're really low level, but very quickly you're going to swap to something else if you find them in raid. Because even if you find an HPC in raid, you're usually better off just pulling the plates off, putting them in your armor, and getting rid of the HPC if you don't want the cash for it. Now, your C tier armors are going to be your armors that are going to be a step up. You're going to find them mostly on scavs. They offer decent protection. They're still low level stuff, but they're better than the D tier. So this is going to boil down to a lot of the class 3 stuff, or class 2 that has better plates in it, for example. So the Dr. Disrespect armor, which this is right after all the stuff that happened with Dr. Disrespect. I'm not going to get into that, but I don't know if this armor stays or not. It might go away, but it's a class 3. I'll put it here. There's no statement with it. It's in the game, so I'm putting it in the tier list. Whereas the Zuck armor, it's a class 2, but it has great plate protection, great coverage. You know, you can slap class 4 plates in it. And it's an upgrade from any of these. From that, you have your rigs, and yes, these rigs are class 4 aramid or class 3 aramid. I get that. The downfall is you can't put movable plates in them, and I really hate how restrictive they are with your pockets and mags and things like that. So for that fact, they kind of bump down to a C tier. Some argument could be made that the rat rig, as some people call it, could be B tier, but I really don't feel like it belongs there. I feel like it's a C tier armor. After that, we have our class 2 plate or armored rigs that carry okay plates, usually class 3. But you can put class 4 and 5 plates in there as well. Again, more common scav. Then you've got your Untar, which is class 3 aluminum, which isn't bad. It's halfway decent, especially now, or now at lower levels. But it very stands out a lot, and you're going to move past it pretty quickly. Now, kind of the twin brother of the press armor is the Karasa. It's a little bit better technically than the press armor, not much. Maybe it stands out a little bit less, but also a class 2, but with good coverage and able to take really good. I mean, you can put up class 6 plates in if you wanted to, but again, it's only level 2 aramid. From here, we get into some of their other plate carriers, the rigs, either through the lack of side plates or just how their armor system works inside. They fall into the C tier because a lot of the times, basically what it is if you're going to have access to, at the same time you get these, you're going to have access to B tier armors, which you would run those over these. And that's kind of how I bump them down. They just don't fit on par with some of the other stuff. And then the last 2 we're going to have in here is the Karas armor. I can't remember what this is. It's like class 3 steel armor. There's 2 kinds of them. It's okay. It's kind of in between C and B. Like, I'll run this over some of the others, but again, it falls kind of in there with the press or some of these other class 3s all about. As well as the 6B23. Again, decent coverage, limited plates, not great at repairing. So while it's an upgrade over the D tier, once you get into the B tier armors that we're going to talk about, you're probably going to run those over this anyways. Real quick, before we get to the next tier, let's talk about the sponsor of this video. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made and is available for free on PC and consoles. There are more than 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 nations you can take control of. They range from before World War I all the way up to modern weaponry. The incredible detailed vehicles will immerse you in each battle with realistic graphics and authentic sound effects that place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. I personally love how the game shows exactly what happens to you and your opponents with the damage X-ray system, leaving little to doubt to what happened with each shot. That, along with the constant progression, keeps me coming back for more and more. But I honestly have a blast even playing the low-level tanks. Plus, the ability to play casually in arcade mode or get more sweaty with the realism modes means that I can play no matter what mood I'm in. Anyone new or anyone returning from more than a 6-month break will also receive a massive bonus pack across all platforms, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies that are available for a limited time only. So make sure not to miss it. You will join a worldwide community of over 70 million players in intense PvP battles. Delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. With an unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover, there's simply no game better suited for fans of military history. All right, now for B tiers, one that's going to get an upgrade big time from last is the Trooper armor. Pretty decent armor now. It's not the best, but it offers good protection. It has really high durability. They're really easy to find. You're going to find them on rogues and raiders and stuff. Plus, it has the ability to upgrade the plates. And with how the new armor system functions, the Aramid combined with the plate system actually provides more coverage than some of these others like the Karasa. The Trooper actually covers more of the body with how they did the new plate system, minus the side plates, obviously, but as far as your thorax coverage is concerned. Now, the next two, I know are going to be controversial, but again, this falls into what I put in the A tier and B tier. If I have access to armors in the A tier, I'm going to not run the ones in the B tier. So that's why these next two got bumped down. Those two are going to be the Karund and the Defender. Now, the Defender, yes, it probably belongs in an A tier. I'm not going to, I wouldn't die on this hill, but I'm putting it down here because of what ends up, you'll see what ends up in the A tier, which you might disagree with too. It's got a great barter for it. Yes, it's got decent coverage, but it doesn't come with side plates. So that bumps it down because of that deficit. And then the same thing with the Karund. And now that I'm actually looking at it, I'm going to do something else that might upset people. I'm going to move this even further down into the C tier because the Karund is still only class 2 Aramid. It has good coverage. Yes, when you get it, it comes with class 5 plates and all that kind of jazz, but the plates are heavy, they're steel, which means they kind of suck, and it's again class 2. So why would you run class 2 over class 3, which you have some of these other stuff? So see, there's me changing my mind and going through this and talking through it. I even threw something down lower. Now after this, we're gonna have some of the rigs. A lot of these rigs used to be like I think they were D tier beforehand because there was no reason to run them because the protection sucked. But because of the way Aramid and the armor system works now, at least for now, these all get bumped up into the B tier. And that is your handful of rigs. You've got the M2 rig, the Tagilla's armor, the Strandhog, I forget what this one's called. It's the RBAV something or other. It's on Ragman. Decent rig again. It's a lot like the Strandhog. The A18, which even before was kind of I don't like this rig because it's pockets, but it gets stepped up now because of what it can do, as well as the Osprey Assault, which is, it's going to be the Osprey A. Let me just show you the difference in these real quick. So the Osprey P, which we'll rank here in a sec, you get on Peacekeeper. It is got class 3 Aramid on it, whereas the Osprey A, which is the Assault, only has class 2 Aramid. So, and the pockets are a little bit different, but that's the difference between these. And I'm bumping that down, and so you might say this belongs in C tier, but it actually has a step up in protection because of the arms and the coverage of it. So that's why I'm keeping it in B tier. Plus it's a rig, which is more utility than a armor, but it is only class 2. So the Osprey A, Osprey parentheses A, the Assault one is a B tier. And then everybody's beloved TV-110, again, another class 2, but good protection all the way around with how it functions. Great pockets, great utility. And then lastly in this thing is the OTV. Good coverage, but again, it's a simplistic armor. It's not one that I'm going to run over a lot of these others in the A and S tier, but I would run over the ones in the C tier. And look through here real quick, make sure I'm not forgetting any. Oh, we forgot the Slick. The Slick is a B tier as well, which it used to be an F tier, but it's a B tier now because of the armor system, but it doesn't have side plates. And basically it's just a good, decent Aramid coverage with the change in the system. So if you're going to run it, great, but I would trade that in, put the plates in one of these A or S tiers if you have those available. Now for the A tier, this is going to be another part that's going to bind with a lot of people, but it's because of my personal preference. This is my tier list. This is not everybody's tier list. This is how I look at stuff, and mobility is super important. Yes, there's going to be times that I'll run these armors, you know, factory stuff like that, or if I'm running a squad and we're going to dorms a lot and I know I'm not going to be running around and movement isn't a huge deal, I'll wear these. But otherwise, they restrict your movement entirely too much for me to use them every day, which is why I put them as an A tier. They are still fantastic armors, but I'm going to run other armors over them. S tier is safe for the stuff that I'm going to run. If I have it, that's what I'm running. I'm going to throw out my armor and take that armor. If I don't have it or something else, it's the best armor that I see in the game. So that eats up some of these, and there's going to be kind of a wishy-washy spot here. I'll explain it till we get to it, but these are the four big ones. The four big ones that kill your mobility. Yes, they all have fantastic coverage. They're all class 3. Some of them even have decent barters, like the Reddit's not too bad. But that mobility thing really decreases their value from that S tier. So that's why they're down here. Now from here, we're gonna get into this next stage where, yes, I said plates that they come with don't matter, but plates that are available to them do. Now, the Killa armor used to be arguably one of the best armors in the game, and it's still pretty good, but it's not the best because of the plate restrictions that go with this. You're pretty much limited to ceramic plates for the higher level plates for this. There are class 6 plates, but they are hard to get your hands on. You got to find them in the wild, or you got to get lucky and find them in a Zuck kind of armor. Otherwise, you're stuck running class 5s. So that's why the Killa gets lowered. Now the Thor, this one's maybe swinging a little bit high for people, but this one is probably one of my favorite armors in the game until I get to the end game, because it has a lot of versatility to it. It's cheap. It's only a couple of books to barter for, so it's like 70k, 80k, maybe 90k to barter for. And you can put side plates, front plates, back plates. You can put up to class 5 in it. It's got class 3 air mid. It covers all over the place except the neck, which most of the armors don't. And when you get into higher end ammo, the neck coverage doesn't really matter anyways. The neck coverage is saving you from pistol shots and shotguns mostly only. So that's why I put this in the A tier, because it's a fantastic armor all the way around. Hopefully BSG doesn't watch this, because I don't want them to nerf it. I don't want to make it harder to get. It is such a good armor. I use it all the time. It's low profile, so you don't stand out. I just like it. With this, kind of with the Killa armor though, is the Gazelle. Again, it's down here because of the limitation on plates. You're limited to that one type of plate that can go in there. It's usually ceramic. They don't hold up the best. You can't repair them, and you don't have that huge versatility like you do in Raid. A lot of scavs are running the NATO plates. A lot of this stuff has those NATO style plates that you can pull out and replace mid-raid if you've got a plate that's jacked up. You can't really do that with the Gazelle, and a lot of times even the ones you do get off of the players or other scavs are shot to shit, and they ain't any good because they're ceramic. Sticking with this is also the Baggerly, which I know a lot of people are going to want this in the S tier, and if you want to put it there, up to you. That's you. I'm not going to argue against it. I'm putting it down here again because of the plate limitations it has on it. Now, while it's easier to get the plates for this than it is the Gazelle, they are steel and ceramic for intents in the game pretty much operate the same. They are your lower tier armor materials. They don't hold up as well. The steel repairs great, but you're repairing it because you died, right? That's why you're usually repairing steel armor, not because it saved your life. And it does provide decent coverage, and it did get buffed mid-wipe. They did move it from class 2 to class 3 aramid, so that's great. But it just falls into this A tier because there's other stuff I'm going to run. Now, I just realized right now I screwed something up. The M2 rig doesn't belong here. It belongs up here. The M1 rig belongs down here in B, because the M1 rig is class 2, whereas the M2 is class 3. So here, sorry for that mistake. Fixed it right there. M2 rig class 3, good barter, good coverage, and it takes the NATO plates. So that's why I put it in here. I don't run it a lot because I prefer to run Grizzlies and I can't fit them in here, but I've seen more and more people running them, and a lot of people talk really highly about it. I think it's a good armor, just not for me particularly, but it still fits into that A tier. Now, along with that is kind of the AVS. Now, this is one here. Liston argued with me a little. He thought this should be an S tier armor. And the biggest reason I say no, is because it doesn't have side plates. It might not sound like it's super important, but again, this is about contrast, right? Am I going to run the AVS over some of these other S tier armors, or if I have the AVS, is it in the same boat? And it just isn't. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, it has good coverage because it does cover your groin. It takes the NATO plates as well. And with the new update that they did, it's got great coverage around the weak spots with the aramid and the plates, but it just doesn't beat out the other armors in the S tier. And that goes for the Tech as well. Decent armor. I don't like it because of its pockets. Honestly, I wanted to put it in a B tier, but it doesn't deserve to be down here. It fits up here with a lot of these others. Just because I don't like it because of its pockets and the way it's shaped doesn't mean it doesn't get to be here. Plus, it's pretty readily available because there is a craft for it. You can craft it in your laboratory once you get Sew It Good Part 4 done with Ragman. So it sits in the A tier. Now, the one that we're going to do here, I'm on the fence. I have this between an A tier and maybe an S tier. I'm going to put it in S tier because just to be consistent, right? I want to put it in A tier, but it really deserves to be in an S tier. It's harder to get, but it has fantastic coverage. It's got great durability. It's got a ton of durability to it. It can take plates. It's got side plates. And while it does have the little shoulder pads on it, that's just for looks. It doesn't provide any extra level of protection. So it is class 3. It's light. It's a rig. It's got great coverage. And for the same reason, we get to put the CPC up here, which makes me so happy. This has always been one of my favorite armors in the game, but patch 14 ruined it. It made it useless, along with a lot of the other rigs. But with BSG's latest patch, it went from bottom of the barrel to arguably, again, one of the best, if not the best armors in the game. Provides great mobility, has awesome pockets and just a range of use with its pockets. It's class 3. You can craft it, so you can craft it in your hideout. It comes with the class 5 polys, which that's not here, but you're not having to swap plates out. You can craft it and boom, you have class 5 poly plates, so it's a little bit cheaper. You can upgrade those to class 6 really easily of various material types if you want. So all of those factors make it just an awesome armor. And since the change, I've been crafting them like crazy and running them and loving it. Now with that, the Osprey P is in the S tier as well because it pretty much fits the same role as the CPC does. It's got a decent barter, cheap barter on Peacekeeper to do. It comes with good plates. You can swap plates out of it. I usually do because it comes with Titan heavy plates. So I usually pull the chest plate out and put a poly plate in there just to shave a little bit of weight. It covers your arms. It covers all over your chest. It's got good protection just all the way around. And with it being class 3, it's just a step above a lot of the rigs we have. Now after that is your 2 Gen 4s. Now people are going to be wondering why I put this one down here versus up here, the Gen 4 full. And there's kind of a borderline because there's not a huge difference between them. It's mostly that little bit of difference with their mobility. And you could even move some of these down if you wanted to. I run these all the time. I run them above a lot of these other armors because they're easy to get. They have great coverage, great durability. The plates in them cover well. They're exchangeable, all of that stuff. Plus, they're readily available. The Gen 4 full, pretty expensive little barter, but you can go 205,000 and get Gen 4 assault. And eventually, I think it's on loyalty level 3 ref. You can also do the barter it's on ref now for the other IOTV4 Gen 4 armor. So that's why those are up in S tier. The next one's going to be a Reddit and the Redoute, whatever you want to call it. And I think this is an armor that a lot of people overlook because they don't understand that this can take both the Russian plates and Western style plates. And I just have an example of it right here, right? When you barter for the Reddit, you get the ceramic BR4 ballistic plates, right? You can take those out and put a Colt Locust class 5 right in there. Plus it has side plates. It has neck protection. It's class 3. Again, it's a barter, so you can get it. It doesn't have to have magic. It's got groin protection. It's got a little bit of butt protection. As you can see here, it covers your buttocks. And so all of those together make this a really spectacular armor. So for that, I throw it up into the S tier. And I almost had it in A tier, and I thought about it and I realized how good it was because I was thinking it only took Russian plates. And then I remembered it took Western plates as well, which gives you that class 6 option. Now, the Zuck. Now, this is going to be the only one that I break all of my rules with, and it's because it's a rare armor. It is an S tier armor, but only when you find it. Not if you buy it, because if you buy it, it's not going to come with the plates. The Zuck comes with class 6 plates, and it's the only place that you can get these kind of Russian plates. So if you find it in raid, even if you find it on a boss or something and it's shot up a little bit, it is still going to be worth running because even repaired class 6 ceramic is going to be above a full class 5. Now, yes, you could take that out and put another armor if you wanted to, but there's no reason because the Zuck is class 3. It's got neck protection. It covers all the way around. Only thing it doesn't have is arm protection, which doesn't matter that much. So that's why it's up here. It's a special armor. It's a really rare armor. It's one of the rarest armors that I very rare. I see all of these other armors far more than I ever see a Zuck. You see a couple of them a wipe, just because they're not around. But before we wrap it up, I want to say thank you again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Remember, you can try it out for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox now by using my link in the pinned comment or video description below. Anyone new or returning for more than a 6-month break will also receive a massive bonus pack across all platforms, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies that are available for a limited time only. So make sure not to miss it. But that's it. Again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget that like and subscribe button. Helps me out a ton. Lets YouTube know you want to watch more of my content. Keep an eye out for that armor video talking about the materials, because I know that's going to be super important for people to figure out. But that's it. Wish you guys the best of luck in your raids, and we'll see you in Tarkov.